Hey everyone! Welcome to the stream today. We'll get started with our lesson in about under 20 minutes. So you are here early. Again, welcome. I have a few announcements before we get started with the lesson, but you can also feel free to ask any questions if you have them before we get started. There is some time right now. Let's move that. There we go. Hey Nikki and Secretive, welcome. Two of my moderators here early. Nice. As well as, let's see what other people who should I say hi to. Oh, my member, Jackie. You're the first member in here. Welcome. Yeah. So this will be an intermediate level lesson. You can actually check out the prerequisites before we start today. You have a little bit of time if you want to actually learn one of these before the lesson today. If you want to know what's the most important prerequisite for this lesson, I would say it's knowing this form right here. 우리하고. If you know this form, you're going to be good for the lesson today. The other ones are more specifics, like if you're wondering, what's the difference between this form and this form, for example? Well, you should already know the other form if you're going to ask me to compare it to that form. So I also put these up on the board because they're also, sometimes people compare them with these forms. I recommend first watching these lessons because they are not actually the same. These have specific usages. And if you first just learn these forms, you'll automatically know how it's different than the form we're doing today. But the form you should still know is this one, 요거. Let's see, who else is here? Hey, Raymond. 안녕하세요. Someone said 이제 짜장면 먹었어요. I had 짜장면 also for my lunch today, actually. There's a 짜장면 place not too far from here. So I went down, picked up 짜장면, 탕수육, and 짬뽕. Those are my three favorites. But I really just like 짜장면 and 탕수육. Those are my two favorite things I always get whenever I go to 짜장면 place in Korea. Nice. Yeah, it just kind of felt like a 짜장면 day, you know? Some days just feel like 짜장면. Typically in Korea, one thing that people will eat after they move, so like you move into a new place in Korea, it's kind of a tradition. A lot of people will order in 짜장면 to eat at their house. The reason is because you've just moved, so you don't have time to you don't really want to go out and eat somewhere you're not really dressed or you don't really feel great. And you don't want to get anything that's like complicated to eat that you need like lots of, special utensils or special things to eat it. So you just get 짜장면 because they usually bring everything out to you. And then these days it's a little different, but normally you would actually get the bowls as well in your order and you'd eat it and you'd leave the bowls right back outside of your door. And then the delivery driver will come back later, usually either the next day or the same night, and they'll pick up the bowls and the trays and everything and take it back. So you don't even have to do dishes when you eat it, which is great. Someone said, you live in Korea? No, I don't live in Korea. I live in the United States. I actually live in Los Angeles. But I am in Korea about 3-4 months of every year. So about a third of every single year, I am actually located in Korea. So do I live in Korea? I guess yes, but no, because most of my time is in the United States. But I do have a place in Korea that I consider my home. So I guess, yeah, but no, I'm not in Korea right now. I actually will be going to Korea again in this year from the very end of May until the very beginning of August. I'll be in Korea. So I'll be in Korea all June, July of this year. And I already got my plane tickets. I'm already excited for that and preparing for that. But still a couple more months left before that happens. Hey, Joe Turner. Yes, if you're just arriving right now, you are early for the lesson. So you can just sit back and relax. We'll get started with the actual lesson at 2 o'clock, which is about 13 minutes from now. Okay. A few announcements. People are still coming in. I have a few announcements to share. First of which is, again, check out the prerequisites for this lesson. This one being the most important one, 우리하고. Also, as usual, if you are a Patreon supporter of mine, thank you so much if you are. You also get access to all of the worksheets and outlines for every live stream I've ever done. Yes. So yeah, that includes this one right here. You'll get this as soon as the lesson's over today, but you can already download the worksheet for today's lesson, which has an additional, I think, like 8 or 9 or something extra translation practices that you can try for more examples of the form. So yeah, you can get all of those, every single one, if you are a Patreon member, even in the $1 tier. So you only have to support $1 and you get everything for these. If you don't, you still get all the lessons for free. You just don't get the pre-made worksheet and outline. You'd have to write it yourself. Also, another thing, so that was for Patreon members. If you are a member of my YouTube, so people whose names show up in green, I see a few of you in the chat. If your name's in green in the chat and you're a member, that means you get access to watch these abridged versions of these videos, these live streams, the same night that they are streamed. So after this lesson, after I finish teaching, tonight, if you check on my YouTube channel, after usually a few hours after it's done, you can watch the abridged version, the short version of this entire lesson. It's usually going to be about like 10, 15 minutes. So you can have a review of it, or in case you miss it, you can watch it again, and you get to watch those right the same day that I make them. You don't have to wait until later in the week when everyone else gets to watch them, usually around Wednesday. So that's another benefit. Also, just post it in the chat. There's a free open Discord channel. Yes, it is still open. It's been open and active since, I want to say 2018. Yeah, since 2018, it's been open. It's still open, still active, more or less. Some channels are much more active than others. But yeah, it's still there. You can check it out completely free. Say hi to other people there, and you can ask questions, meet other people learning Korean, and it's just a fun place to study Korean together with other people. I do have another announcement. First, let me just pin something here. Let's do that shirt. I do have merchandise. One more way to support me if you're looking for that. It is in the chat. You can check out. I have shirts, hoodies, although the weather's kind of getting a little warm in some places now, so it might be a little late for hoodies. But shirts, phone cases, stuff like that, it's also available. It's just one extra way to support me if you are looking for branded merchandise. Okay. There was one more announcement I had. Oh yeah, the brand new course I have, Master Politeness Levels, is actually available already, partially, to channel members. So if you are a member, so if your name's in green, not only do you get to watch these live stream abridged versions tonight, but you also get to start watching the brand new series, Master Politeness Levels, already. It's already on my channel. You can watch the first 2 episodes right now. I will upload the 3rd episode later this week, and then there will be, I think, 2 more episodes next week. So by the time that it premieres for everyone else on April 8th, members will already have access to the first like 5 episodes, I'm thinking. Maybe more if I can get them out quick enough. But yeah, so you can go check that out right now. Episode 1 and 2 are already up. And yeah, later this week, episode 3 will be up. If you are not a member, you can still watch it, but you'll have to wait. You'll be delayed. You'll get the first episode April 8th, and then 1 a week after that. But yeah, members will be like 4 or 5 episodes in advance from what's being premiered. So yeah, that's another benefit. Let's see, who else is here? Sylvia Colin, welcome. L Planet. Raymond Dinkin, Duktem, yes. Samantha. Hey, Samantha Johnson is our newest member. Thank you. Put an M by your name here. Yeah, if you check out my channel, there is a community tab, and that's where you can see the posts that I make for members only. And in there, so now you have access to the first 2 episodes of Master Politeness Levels. Again, it's going to be available 1 a week for everyone publicly starting from April 8th, but members already have the first 2 with a couple more coming in the next week. So yeah, you'll always be ahead of everyone else for members. That's just an extra benefit I can do for members. Someone said, is uryogo the same as uryo? Yes. That is the same form. Okay, that is all the announcements I have. I already announced I'm going to Korea again. Oh yeah, so about that, if you have any, I know right now I'm just like casually just throwing out announcements here and there. The lesson hasn't started yet, so we're still in casual mode. I'm going to be in Korea again from the end of May until the beginning of August. So if you have any ideas for what types of videos you'd like me to film this time, and I'm always open to ideas, please let me know. You can send me an email. You can send me a message on Discord, or you can just, tweet me on They say tweet, right? Tweet me on Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much. I mean, I do use it for like sharing stuff. Oh yeah, tweet me. That's what it is. Okay, tweet me on Twitter or message me on Instagram or anything. Anywhere you can contact me, let me know your ideas. I'm open to them. And I'm hoping to film another, 20 or so videos while I'm over there. And I'm already starting to plan for that. Okay, so that's all the announcements. So now I can take some questions and we'll get started with the lesson after about 8 minutes. Danny Kirev said, have you ever had a case where you filmed something, but forgot to put the shirt on? No, I've never had that. I've never had that. I've never made that kind of mistake. I've made equally dumb mistakes. I have filmed videos and then forgotten to hit record. I've done that before. I've filmed one time I forgot, actually not one time, several times I forgot to record audio, but I filmed video, or vice versa. I filmed audio and recorded audio, but forgot to film video. Sometimes that's happened. Usually not on collab videos though. I don't think I've had too many mess ups with collabs. The worst mess ups I've ever had on a collab would be the audio recorder got unplugged while filming because I stuck it in my pocket and I moved and it got unplugged. But I've since fixed those problems because I don't use those types of recorders anymore. That though happened like 3 times on 3 separate collabs where the audio recorder got disconnected. But yeah, it hasn't happened since I upgraded my audio. Yeah, no, I've never forgotten to wear something that I wanted to wear. Like I show up and I'm just in my pajamas. Oh no. No, but I don't know if you noticed, but so I've got some new lights. Can you tell? Can you tell if there's any difference? Does it look different at all to you? I have new lights now. Finally. It only took me like years. Yeah, thank you in part to donations. Actually, not in part, in a great part to donations from many of you. I was able to afford to buy 2 new lights. I started using one of them a few weeks ago, so it's been about a month. But now the second one is here and ready, so we're all good. And if it's not even enough, these are actually great lights. I can crank their power up even more. I can still work more with them, so they've got a lot of flexibility. This is just how I have them set up for today, and I'm pretty happy. I think it looks a little brighter and a little bit clearer than we've been having up until this point. So yeah. Someone said, seems like you've lost weight. No, I haven't lost weight. I'm pretty much the same weight all of the time, give or take a kilogram. So no, I have not really lost weight. I'm always watching my weight though, but I'm not like actively trying to gain or lose weight. Fluffy said, so the Why Are You Learning Korean video you did with that lady who said she wasn't learning it for K-pop was filmed. That one was filmed in November, toward the end of November. So it's not that old. I mean, you might think I filmed it last summer. No, I was in Korea in November as well, right up until before Thanksgiving. And that's when I filmed it with Semmur. So I want to film another video with her next time I go, another skit. And I already have an idea, but I'm trying to think of some more stuff that we can do together. Jackie says, what's the next goal? Honestly, I don't really talk about behind the scenes stuff too much, but I thought it was quite substantial, so I should share. Okay, so this year I've upgraded, and the only thing you're going to notice that I've upgraded is the lights, because that's all that has to do with the live streams. But behind the scenes, I've actually upgraded all of the equipment I use for filming videos in the first place. So I got new cameras. Yeah, for the first time ever, upgrading my camera. I'm so excited. I've been working with this same camera since 2018. And it wasn't even new in 2018. But yeah, so I upgraded my cameras, my audio. I got a couple new microphones. I got these new lights, modifiers for the lights. I got a bunch of other stuff that's like, you don't really think about it, but you need it, like cables, memory cards, stuff like that. I feel embarrassed to say, I've already spent just this year, like $10,000 on equipment for this YouTube. That's not like fun stuff. That's literally just the stuff I explained to you. Like, equipment is expensive. When you go from a $100 recorder, which is what I started with for like back in 2013, 14, 15, 16, I had a $100 recorder. When you go from that, how do you upgrade from that? Do you get another $100 recorder? No, you have to get a pro model, or else you're not upgrading if you just buy a new one. So, you know, back a year ago, I upgraded. It was a $700 recorder, which is much better, and I use that all the time. And if you heard them back to back, it would be no question which one's better. But when I want to upgrade a camera like this to something better, I can't get something that's cheap. So yeah, it's just a reality of doing video that you have no money. And then there's nowhere else I can go though now. I've upgraded. I am happy. I am legitimately satisfied with the upgrades that I've done. And like I said, most of them, no one's ever going to notice. A lot of them are just upgrades to make the actual act of filming more reliable, higher quality, but it's not going to end up needing much better videos. It's just higher video quality, if that makes sense. So as of now, there is nothing else that I need to upgrade to. Like there's nothing that I think, oh, I really want to get this. There's nothing like that because I don't need like a cinema camera. I don't need a $100,000 cinema camera. I never will. So yeah, nothing right now. I think I'm good. I'm good at least for this year, right? I'm good for the next several years, right? Yeah, it's kind of, I kind of feel a little bit embarrassed to share how much money I spend on this channel. But yeah, that should be good for the rest of the year. That should keep me down because normally I would stretch my upgrades over the year, like I would do them slowly. But this year it just so happened that a lot of the stuff I wanted to get was only available at certain times. So I just decided, let's just do it now instead of doing it later in the year. Yeah. Yeah, no, and don't feel, yeah, Pody says, I wish I could donate. Yeah, don't feel obligated to give me your money. I'm a bit obsessed with like equipment. I like good equipment and stuff. And I also am obsessed with this channel. Literally, it is what I dream about. I think about it in the shower, like videos I should make. I really was. You can ask my wife. I'm like bugging her. After I came out of the shower, I'm like bugging her with this idea I have for a video. And she's like, okay, sure. And then so I love doing this. If anyone's wondering, if anyone's out there wondering, I really, really do love this whole thing I get to do. But yeah, at times it is quite expensive, but that's my own thing. That's my choice to spend my free money. I could have taken that money and gone on a trip, right? Gone on like a fun trip. Wow. $10,000. Let's go on a great trip to do everything. I don't even know what I'd want to do. Go on a cool trip. No, I really, really wanted to keep making new videos. And I know I need to keep slowly. I always want to keep improving my quality so that I can make better videos for all of you more efficiently and more than I could before. So yeah. Okay. Really quick. Let's check if I'm missing anything in the comments. Samantha Johnson, workbooks. You can find a link in the description. It's just KoreanMadeSimple.com or GoBillyKorean.com. Amazon has them. Everywhere should have them. Oh, Glass Artist. I know your name. I know that name, Glass Artist. Thank you. Awesome. So we're going to start our lesson. Oops, I dropped my marker. Start our lesson with some dabs. I pushed the wrong button. I didn't mean to push the Korean flag button. I was trying to push the one next to it, which was the KitKat dabbing one. But that works. That works. Thank you. Gotcha Linux, do you have a video explaining the nunte with a space form? Yes, I do. I have a full live stream all about that. Check out the Google Doc. When the link comes up, click on that. You can find the lesson to that. Okay. Let's see if I missed anything else. Oh, Donnie asked, how many episodes will the new course be? The new course will be 24 episodes. I've already finished making several of them, But yeah, you can watch the first 2 already if you're a member, and then there will be 1 a week, and it'll have 24 episodes completely. I saw it flash again. Carrie! Thank you. I was just about to start the lesson. Carrie's. 안녕하세요, 고블리 선생님. 광주에 가본 적 있으세요? 광주. No. I admit, I've never been anywhere southwest in Korea. That whole section, southwest, with the exception of Busan, but that's kind of like in the middle. I haven't been anywhere like west of there and south. So there's so much stuff around that area. Like, let's see what else is there. There is so much stuff around that entire area that I've never ever been to. And I would like to go. And I need an excuse to go there. Because I don't even know what there is. I only know like what I've heard. Like, oh, there's the famous, this place is in there. The Buddhist temple here is, and there's this, thing you can do. Like, I've heard a lot. I've never seen it for myself. I've been like everywhere else in Korea, except that area, that whole area, because I don't know anyone there that I can visit. So I'd have to find someone to go together with me, and then maybe I can do a travel video or some activity video or food video or something down there. The farthest south I've gone to would probably be just like Daejeon. I've been to Daejeon a lot. So many times I've been to Daejeon. But that's it. I've never been to Jeonju. I've never been below to Gwangju or anywhere like that. So yeah, I just need a friend who lives there so I can have an excuse to go there. Okay, let me do a couple dabs. This time I'll push the right one. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. I imagine somewhere out there's like a millennial boot camp instructor having the trainees dab whenever they make mistakes. Drop and give me 10 dabs. Yes, sir. Okay, thank you. All right, let's get started with our lesson. Okay. The form we're going to be learning today is intermediate level. Although you'll really want to be advanced level before you can actually use it in your sentences. But it's quite easy to make. You take an action verb stem, and then you attach 고, 자. And that's it. There are no exceptions. It doesn't matter what it ends with. As long as it's an action verb, that's all you have to do. And then the way it's used is you'll follow this up in a sentence with another action verb. And that will be the end of your sentence. Sorry, it doesn't have to be the end of your sentence, but that'll be what comes after. So after this, you'll follow it with an action verb. For example, 하다. We'll just say that. 했어요. The end. Or you can do 하고 or 하는 or any other form of that and then finish the sentence. But the verb that follows this will be an action verb. So that's all you need to know. In fact, only use a standard action verb stem to make this form. Do not use a past or future tense action verb stem. For example, if you have the action verb 하다, to do, the stem of 하다 is 하. So you get 하고자. Now, there is also a past tense stem, right? For example, 하다 can become, you could also get 했 like that, but this is never used. You'll only use the standard stem, no matter what tense the sentence is in. So 하다 would only become, no exceptions. I promise you, 0 exceptions. It's always 하고자. So if you have 가다 to go, 가고자. 먹다 to eat, 먹고자. The end. There are no exceptions. I think that's good. It makes it easy. Dab could be a new form of Korean discipline. Yes. Yeah. So what is this form? When is it used? Well, I'll talk about what it means in a little bit. Actually, next. I'll talk about what it means next. So this form, although that's the only way to do it, I should note first, this form is only used in formal situations. By that I mean, this form itself has kind of a fancy, a formal, an official feel. So you're not going to use this in casual situations at all. You're not going to use this in casual situations with your friends because it has a formal feel. So that's why you wouldn't. So I just want to make that clear. This is specifically a form that's used in more fancy sounding or formal or official situations. This is not a regular grammar form you're going to be using with your friends. Unless you're trying to speak jokingly like that, in which case, sure, but that can apply to anything. So let's check this out. All right, so then what does this form mean? We're doing really good. Okay. This form means that the speaker, so whoever says this form, wants to do something or intends to do something. Intends. Where have we seen that before? Can you think of where we might have seen this before? Just think about that. I'm not gonna spoil it right now, but just think about that. It'll come up toward the end of the explanation we're gonna give here. Just think about that. Okay, so this form shows that the speaker wants or intends to do something. Now, this speaker is most often in the first person. By that I mean I, me. This is the first person. Actually, me would not really necessarily be, but unless it's like me too, I also, yeah, okay. I or me would be first person versus you. So this is most often to say, so this form is let me say that again. So this form, 고자, is most often used to express I, the speaker, want to do something, or I intend to do something. Now, intending is also kind of like saying I'm going to do something, or I wish to do something, I want to do something, I will do something. That sort of intention meaning. So let's translate this form. Because I intended or wanted or hoped or planned to do. These are all just other ways you can translate intended. So because I intended to do whatever action. So if we have 먹다, 먹고자, 먹고자, and then some other action verb. 했어요, whatever. I did something because I intended to, in this case, 먹다, to eat. So, because this form is followed by another action verb, you can kind of think of it like this. Because I intended or wanted or hoped or planned to do action, whatever action verb comes before this form, therefore I did or do action that comes after it. This will make a little bit more sense once you see an example, but this is a way that you can think of this form. Also, I mentioned that this form is only kind of like I mentioned that this is more of a formal, fancy sounding, official sounding form. So you can also just translate it like this. So So for the purpose of doing some sort of action, I did something else. So if we have the verb 먹다 again, 먹고자 하다. Let's just put 하다 at the end, for example. Any verb. 먹고자 했어요. So I did something. 했어요. For the purpose of eating. So for the purpose of eating something, I did something. So I did it for the purpose of eating or in order to eat. That sort of meaning. So it's a because form. This form is a because form. Because it means for the purpose of eating, I do or I did, however you translate this tense for this verb that comes after it. Often the verb that comes after it will be 하다, but you'll see it used with a lot of different verbs too. So, before we continue talking about how it's used, let me just give you a note about it. Like I said, if you write these down as notes now, it'll make more sense once you see sentences. The form itself actually is quite simple, especially if you know another form that I'm going to mention. One thing I should say is that I said that this form is used for the speaker to express that they intend or want to do something. That means that the speaker is going to be the same subject for both verbs that are used in the sentence. So if you have, let's just take 하다, 하고자 하다, as an example. So we're just going to use two different verbs, 하다, to do. If we have the speaker here, the speaker's me. So I am saying 하고자 해요, 하고자 했어요, 하고자 할 거예요, whatever I'm saying. It has to be me wanting to do this and me doing something. If that doesn't make sense, I'll present it another way. The subject of both verbs has to be the same. So if that's me, I am intending to do something and I do something. So I am doing something for the purpose of doing something. Or because I want to do something, I am doing something. So that's a way to look at this form. Just keep in mind it has to be the same subject doing both parts of the sentence. It can't be 철수 wants to do something, so I do something. Or I want to do something, so 철수 does something for the purpose of me doing something. It doesn't make sense. It has to be the same subject. Okay. Another thing that you need to know about using this form is that it must be followed by an action. It must be followed by actually doing something. So again, let's take 먹다 as an example. This 하다, or whatever verb we put here, this can be present tense or future tense or past tense, but it needs to be doing something. By that I mean, you cannot change this with a do not do something verb. So you could not say 하지 않다 or 안 하다 or 못하다. You could not say 먹고자 something 안 하다. So I'm not doing something because I want to do something. You cannot say that. This cannot be followed by any sort of inaction. It has to be an action. Therefore, you do something because you are intending to do something. So because I'm intending to eat, what did I do? Not, I didn't do something because I'm intending to eat. Now, if you want to say a negative, let's take for example, in order to be a good teacher, I will work hard. So, becoming a good teacher, intending to become a good teacher, I will work hard. Okay, intending to become a good teacher, I will not work hard. Doesn't make sense. Intending to become a good teacher, I cannot work hard. Doesn't make sense either. You could say, not intending to become a good teacher, I work hard. So I'm working hard to not become a good teacher. That makes sense. This part of the sentence, though, cannot be a negative. If you want to make the sentence negative, like you're not trying to become something, you're not intending to do something, then you make this part of the sentence negative, not the ending part. This part will always be just something I do, something I will do, something I did, not cannot do or don't do. Okay. So then I mentioned, we're almost done with the explanation before we get into some sentences. We're almost done explaining it. So I mentioned that this form is really just intention, right? Well, there's another form, or actually a few. There's another form that you can use that you can simply copy paste over this form and it'll make sense every single time. And that is 으려고. This form has the exact same usage, although it has different restrictions. This form has the same meaning though. So let me give you an example. 저도 계속, let's just do that. Let's make it shorter. Write this a little nicer. Okay. 좋은 선생님이 되려고 앞으로도 계속 노력할 거예요. 좋은 선생님, a good teacher. 좋은 선생님이 되다, to become a good teacher. So to be a good teacher. So intending to, this is the regular 려고 form. Intending to become a good teacher, what am I going to do? Or what did I do? Or what am I doing? 앞으로도, so into the future, continually, 계속. So I'm going to keep. 노력하다, to try. 노력할 거예요. So I'm going to keep trying into the future from now, basically. 앞으로 means forward. So even forward, going forward, I'm going to keep trying to be a good teacher, literally. So I will continue to keep working hard or to keep trying hard in order to be a good teacher. 좋은 선생님이 되려고 앞으로도 계속 노력할 거예요. So this form can actually be swapped with no consequences, other than this form is now more formal sounding, more official, fancier sounding, but it has the same usage. 좋은 선생님이 되고자 앞으로도 계속 노력할 거예요. Yeah. Isn't that cool? That's it. That's what this form means. That's how it's used. So again, the restrictions are, this one is only used to show you do something, never used to show that you're not going to do something in order to do something. So this is more straightforward, that you are actually intending to do something. And I will say this form doesn't only convey that you are intending, I should also say this form doesn't only convey you're intending to do something like 려고 does. 려고 kind of has the feeling of intending, but it also kind of feels like I'm going to, I will. This one has a stronger feeling of your desire. So 려고 also can convey that too, but this one is stronger. Like I intend to, I truly want to, I desire, I hope. So this has a stronger feeling of your hope or desire than 려고. But other than that, you can swap it. And let's see. Other than that, they're pretty much the same. You also wouldn't use a past tense or future tense stem with 려고. You also can't use different subjects when you're saying something with 려고 either. So if you already know how to use 려고, then you know how to use this form. I'll just say that. You can swap it. If you ever see a sentence with 고자 and you can't understand, well, the form, there's a separate word that's unrelated. If you know this form already, I mean, if you know the 요거 form already and you see any sentence that has this form with 고자, you can just swap it. So you see a sentence, like, what does that mean? 좋은 선생님이 되고자? What is that? I don't quite understand the feeling. 되려고? There you go. All right. So that's all you need to know about this form. So anytime you swap it, it'll always logically make sense. 좋은 선생님이 되고자 앞으로도 계속 노력할 거예요. So, intending to become a good teacher, or because I intended or wanted or hoped or planned to become a good teacher, or even for the purpose of becoming a good teacher, or in order to become a good teacher. Translate it however you'd like. So in order to become a good teacher, I'm going to keep working or keep trying hard. All right. How do you feel about it? I have several more sentences, but how do you feel about this form so far? Again, this form it's intermediate level because 요거 is kind of getting into the intermediate level. It's not intermediate strongly, but 요거 is typically taught toward the end of the beginner stage, or maybe the intro to the intermediate stage. This one, though, is less useful than 요거. I have never found a need to use this form myself, 고자. But I've seen it. You'll hear it. Sometimes you'll see it you'll read it in speeches. You'll see it used from time to time, but it's not as essential. It's not as fundamental for having conversations as 려고 or other forms. So which is why I would say, although it's really basic to add, and if you know 려고, you can just add it right into your Korean grammar, it's not as useful. So I would place it a little bit higher in its usefulness. So I'd say don't even bother learning it until you're already intermediate. Someone said it feels easy. Well, yeah, if you understand 려고, then it should be. If you don't understand 려고, then this is it might be a bit hard to grasp because 려고 itself is kind of tricky to understand how it can be used, because we learned that 려고 means intend, but also in sentences it means in order to, right? And I talked about this when I did the live stream all about 려고, how it can mean like in order to do something, even though literally it just means intending to do something. Okay, so let's do a few more example sentences. Let's just do 합니다. Okay, this is going to be an example of how you can use this with a negative verb. 옥수수 기름. So corn oil, literally corn oil. 옥수수 기름은 더 이상 anymore 쓰다, to use. 쓰지 않다, to not use. So 쓰지 않으려고, you can think of it like that. 쓰지 않고자 합니다. So I am trying to, intending to, not use corn oil anymore. Again, if you don't know the 려고 form already, this might be a bit tricky to understand why it's using 하다 without anything. Like, why is just 하다 here? Well, if you just want to say I'm intending to do something, or I want to, or I plan to, or something like that, then you attach 하다 after this form, and that's it. So I am intending to. Or maybe 했어요, 했습니다, past tense. I was intending to, like that. 옥수수 기름은 더 이상 쓰지 않고자 합니다. So, I am trying not to use corn oil anymore. So maybe a company could announce this. Yes, we are trying to not use corn oil anymore. Or maybe more officially, we are now intending to no longer use corn oil in any of our products. You might see something like that, like a company might make this announcement. Okay, look at this for another second, then I'm going to write down the next sentence. 옥수수 기름은 더 이상 쓰지 않고자 합니다. So you can think of it as, again, 쓰지 않으려고 합니다. So we are trying to, intending to not use corn oil anymore. Is corn oil that bad? I actually don't know. Anyway, it's just an example sentence. Corn tastes pretty good. Okay. 쓰지 않고자 합니다. Okay. Next sentence. In fact, you'll see 되고자 used very commonly in order to be, in order to become, but it doesn't have to be. 네. 결국 모델이 되지 못했어요. So now I wanted to show you another example with a negative sentence. So here we're going to end the sentence with cannot, with could not. But wait, Billy, didn't you say we can't? Yeah, you can't. This sentence doesn't break any rules. 노력했는데. This is the verb that follows after this form, and it is positive. I tried. But it didn't work out, but I tried. The verb that comes after it must be a positive verb. Cannot be 노력 안 했는데 or 하지 않았는데 or 노력하지 못했는데. You could not say that. But you can say I tried, but whatever else happened, it doesn't matter. It's unrelated to this form. 패션 모델이 되고자. So, in order to become, or for the purpose of becoming, or because I intended to become a fashion model, what did I do? 노력하다 is to try, to put in effort. So I tried hard, 노력했는데, I tried hard to become a fashion model, but 결국, in the end, I couldn't become a fashion model. That's how the song goes. 모델이 되지 못했어요. I could not become a model. So in the end, I couldn't become a model though. But I tried hard to become a fashion model, but in the end, I just couldn't. 패션 모델이 되고자 노력했는데 결국 모델이 되지 못했어요. 패션 모델이 되고자 노력했는데 결국 모델이 되지 못했어요. Again, 100% the same meaning. Well, okay, that's exaggeration. I did say that 고자 kind of presents a little bit more of like a wanting, but they both kind of do convey that as well. This is just a little stronger if you use 고자. But anyway, yeah, same meaning though. 패션 모델이 되려고 노력했는데 결국 모델이 되지 못했어요. This is how you would say the sentence to your friends or in any normal, not fancy or formal situation. 패션 모델이 되려고 노력했는데 나 패션 모델이 되려고 진짜 열심히 노력했거든. 노력했는데 결국 모델이 되지 못했어. You might say like this to your friends with 려고. But then you go to your business meeting and you have a job interview and you want to sound fancy. So your employer's looking at your resume. They're like, "Oh, I see you're doing fashion modeling for a month." And you're 패션 모델이 되고자 노력했는데 결국 모델이 되지 못했어요. Or 못했습니다, however you want to say it. So yeah, I was intending to become a fashion model, but ultimately I was not able to. So it just has more of a fancy, formal, or official feel to it. Okay. Hopefully it helps that I'm changing all of these to 려고 so you can see how it's used. But yeah, it's the same thing. Okay, let's do a slightly different one. You'll also notice that every single one of these sentences so far is first person, but they don't all have to be. I did mention most of the time it's in first person, but it could be someone else does something in order to do something. But we'll talk about that in a second. Most of the time, though, it's going to be just first person. Same as 요거. Because you don't know what someone else is thinking or feeling or whatever it is that they want to do. So you can't normally talk about other people's desires. There are some situations where you can, but not in a normal situation. And we'll see one of those coming up soon. Okay, 저는 의사의 꿈, literally a doctor's dream. But you'll see, 이루다, 꿈을 이루다 is to reach, to obtain, to get, to make your dreams come true. To make your dream come true, to get your dream. So to get your doctor dream, that's one way to say, to make your dreams become true. So to make your dreams of becoming a doctor. I have a dream of being a doctor. You could just say 의사의 꿈, a doctor dream. That's kind of just a different usage that they do in Korean. You can also say, dream of becoming. You can translate that into Korean as well, literally. But you can also say it like this: 의사의 꿈을 이루고자. So intending to 이루다, to get, to make, to obtain my dreams of a doctor, becoming a doctor. So to become a doctor, 열심히 공부했습니다. I studied hard to make my dreams of becoming a doctor a reality. 저는 의사의 꿈을 이루고자 열심히 공부했습니다. 저는 의사의 꿈을 이루려고 열심히 공부했습니다. Same. 100% the same. Just do this. This is going to be more common, and it doesn't have that fancy formal feel to it, but the meaning's the same. So anytime you see this form and you get a little confused, just change it in your mind. It's the same thing. 저는 의사의 꿈을 이루고자 열심히 공부했습니다. In fact, 이루려고 even rolls off the tongue better for me, just because 고자 is not that commonly used in regular speech. But yeah, has the same meaning. So, intending to make my dreams come true of becoming a doctor, I studied hard. 있습니다. This might be something that the construction worker or the supervisor would say, or I don't know, maybe the person in charge of the project, some sort of construction, 공사, would say. They would say this in an announcement. 겨울이 오기 전에. So before 겨울, before autumn comes, 오기 전에 공사, construction, 끝내다, to finish, to complete. 공사를 끝내고자. So intending to complete the construction before autumn comes, because I want to make sure we can finish all the construction before autumn, 바쁘게, busily, 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. So we're working busily. We're working hard. You can kind of think of it as like, we're working so much that we're busy. We're very busy working. We're very busy working in order to finish construction before autumn. 겨울이 오기 전에 공사를 끝내고자 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. 겨울이 오기 전에 공사를 끝내려고 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다 is also fine. But 고자 has more of a formal, fancy, official feel. So this sounds more like an official announcement. Like someone gets up at the podium, it's like, Is this thing on? Hey everyone. 겨울이 오기 전에 공사를 끝내고자 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. It sounds more like an announcement. Whereas 겨울이 오기 전에 공사를 끝내려고 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. Sounds more like just something that someone's telling their boss. So yeah, that's the feeling you get. Difference when you use this form. A little bit more fancy, more like an announcement, more official. And it definitely wouldn't be for casual situations. So you would never use this with your friends. Did I say 가을? Did I translate it wrong in my head? Sorry everyone. I was reading 겨울, winter, and my brain was saying, "Oh yeah, that's the cold season. That's autumn. That's autumn, right?" No. 가을 is autumn. Yeah, 겨울 is winter. Thank you. I would be very embarrassed if I had that in my the final version. Okay, let's do this again. Pretend it never happened. Can you do that for me? Just pretend I never misread that. 겨울이 오기 전에. So before the winter comes, 겨울. Shh. You never saw a thing. 공사를 끝내고자 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. So we are working, 바쁘게. We're busy working so that we can finish, 끝내다, 공사, the construction, before winter comes. So we're intending to, we are hoping to, we are planning to finish construction before the winter comes. So in order to do that, what are we doing? We are busy working. 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. 겨울이 오기 전에 공사를 끝내고자 바쁘게 일하고 있습니다. So we're working, we're busy working so that way we can finish construction before winter comes. Domenica, yes, it's not the same. That's why I said you'll want to learn 요거 before you're learning this form because this is interchangeable with 요거 and 요거 is not the same as 기위해. It can translate as 기위해. 기위해 is only a very formal, straightforward expression. And when I taught 요거, I don't have time to go over the whole thing today, but when I taught 요거, I explained specifically how 요거 is different than 기위해 and what it has different restrictions. There are certain cases where you cannot use 요거, but you can use 기위해, and the way that works. So please check out my live stream about 요거 and then watch this video. This will make a lot more sense. But otherwise, it's going to be difficult for me to compare it to that form because I need to compare it to 요거. Okay, let's see here. Oh, well, I wrote it, at least I wrote it right on my outline. I wrote wintertime. I just let my brain misread it. Okay. It's okay. It happens to everyone. You don't have to feel bad. You can know, Billy writes things wrong. Billy reads things and totally mistranslates them because he's not thinking. So it's not that bad if it happens to you. It happens to all of us. Okay. Actually, let's write that a little bigger. 장만하고자. Let's do a sentence that's not first person. This one's going to be if you are trying to, if you are intending to. This is our last example sentence for this form because I actually prepared like about almost 20 sentences for this, like I always do. But it's just more of the same. It's the same thing over and over again because it works the same in every situation. So I wanted to present one example that uses it with a negative ending, one example that has it with a negative later in the sentence, one that has it with, here's a command. I wanted to give it with a command, but really it's like it's the same thing as 요거. If you know that, you know this form. 새 가구, so new 가구, furniture. 새 가구를 장만하고자, 장만하다. 장만하다 is another formal word that means purchase, procure, acquire, buy. So 하고자 한다면. So again, this is the plain form strong if form. If you're not familiar with this, you can just learn this as 하면. But 한다면 is like if. So if you are intending to purchase some new furniture, so if you're planning on procuring new furniture for yourself, well then, 이번, this time, literally, so this 행사, this event, this time, the event we're having this time, 놓치다 is to miss, like missing a bus or missing an opportunity, not missing a person, unless you mean like you arrived late so you missed them, then yeah. 놓치다, to miss, so missing an opportunity or an appointment or the bus. So don't miss, 놓치지 마세요. Don't miss this event if you're planning on buying furniture. So hey, if you want to buy some new furniture, don't miss this event. If you're planning to purchase new furniture, don't miss this event. 새 가구를 장만하고자 한다면, literally, if you are intending to purchase new furniture, well then, 이번 행사를 놓치지 마세요. So here, the verbs used are 장만하다, so intending to do it, and then 하다. Again, there is no other verb with it. It's just 하다. So you are doing something intending to buy new furniture. And again, this won't make much sense unless you're already familiar with 려고, because 려고 is used in the exact same way. 려고 with 하다. 새 가구를 장만하고자 한다면, so if you're intending to purchase new furniture, 이번 행사를 놓치지 마세요. Don't miss this event. 다시는 없을 기회. Yes. It's your only chance. There will never be another opportunity like this until next week when we do an even bigger sale that we don't advertise. That's how it works with sales. Or I was trying to buy, I really want to get some a sofa for my house. I don't have a sofa. I have a $100 sofa I bought when I first got married, and it's garbage now. It broke. So I'm thinking, I gotta get a new sofa. Like, doesn't even work. Let's get a new sofa. So I went to a sofa store, and I picked out one that I liked, and they're like, it has a lifetime warranty. Any scratches, anything at all, whatever, no questions, we'll fix it or replace it for like a lifetime, but at least like 10 years it's free or whatever. So I'm thinking, awesome. Turns out the place went out of business. I didn't buy it. The place went out of business 1 month later. So they knowingly, they were going to go out of business. They were just, saying lifetime warranty. Yeah. So if I had bought that and anything would have gone wrong, well, there's no warranty on it. Anyway, always be careful of whenever you're making any large purchases, you got to think about it for a bit, go home, sleep on it. Anyway, yeah, I still need a new sofa, but I did not buy that one. Okay, that's it for this form. That's all you need to know, really, I promise you. So again, what is it? It shows intention, followed by a verb. Most often will be 하다, unless you have any other verb. So if you don't know what you're doing in order to do something, just use 하다. It has a formal feel, so sounds like official or fancy. And let's see, that's it. That's all you need to know. We are done early. This is the shortest live stream I've ever done for a lesson. This is the shortest lesson live stream. We are done. It's 45 minutes in, and we are done. I've never had that happen before. The shortest I've ever done before, I think, was like 52 or 53 minutes. This is ridiculous. This is going to be a very short abridged version too. I'm going to make this into like a 6-minute abridged version. Ask any questions you have. This can be a question about the lesson or a question about anything else. This is it. I didn't prepare anything further. I didn't think we'd finish this fast. Hey, Samantha, for the new sofa. Thank you. Samantha. Hold on, I gotta move you over here. You're a member, but you also donated. Thank you. Let's do some dabs for Samantha. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Appreciate it. 감사합니다. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have money to buy a sofa because I said I spent all my money on equipment. But it's nice. I mean, the equipment's going to last years and years and years. And for example, like these lights these lights, as long as they don't physically break, I can realistically be using these lights for the rest of my entire YouTube career. This microphone, but some stuff I'll have to replace. I'll eventually have to replace this whiteboard, but like, my green screen stuff I got that a few years ago. That's also, it's for life. I don't need to get a new one. I don't need to upgrade. My cameras now, they're good. So it's like, sofa, you buy one, you got to buy another one like 10 years later because it gets ripped or something like that. Or in my case, 5 years later because the leg breaks off. Yes. So let's do some questions. So please ask any questions. I'm in shock. We finished so early today. I really did not expect to finish this early. So I'm going to time for a chart for sofa. The thing is, I don't know how much a sofa is going to cost because I want to get one that I said 10. I'm jokingly saying 10 years. I actually want to get a sofa that will be a good value that I won't just have to replace right away. So I don't know how much it'll cost. So I'm not going to put up a goal for buying a sofa though. Okay, let's do a few questions. Someone said, could I learn Korean in 90 days? You can learn Korean in 3 seconds. You just won't learn very much. You could learn Korean in 90 days too. You're not going to be fluent, but you could still learn Korean in 90 days. You're not going to learn all of it. You can learn 90 days worth of Korean. You can learn 10 days worth of Korean in 10 days. You can learn a year's worth of Korean in a year. I hope that answers your question. But no, it is physically impossible. I don't care how smart you are. Smartest person in the entire world, the biggest language genius in the entire world. No, you cannot become fluent in Korean in 90 days. I would even argue you could not become fluent in Korean in 6 months. No, it could never happen. And I've never seen anyone who's ever done that before. And as you know, I'm well connected in the YouTube world. It's never happened. I don't think you should get your hopes up. I think you should be more realistic about it and just accept if you study more, you'll learn faster. But even studying a little bit a day, you're still learning. It's still good. And don't compare yourself with other people. Just compare yourself with yourself as you're growing. But yeah. Justina said you can replace all the... Oh, I know. The current sofa I have, like I said, I bought it for like $100. The leg broke off. So I thought, you know what? Can't tell me what to do. So I bought, it's a little metal leg. So I bought special metal glue and glued it back on. And it's like, it broke off again after a month. So that's where I'm at right now. The leg is completely broke off. Like it didn't break it. Like it broke off and pulled off another part with it now. That sofa's just dead. It needs to be replaced. The bottom is all shredded, but we don't have a pet. It just shredded itself. Like the fabric that's underneath, the kind of protective layer, it's just shredded. Like it just decided, I'm done. And we never touch it. Why would you reach under and touch that part of the sofa? It just shredded itself and dissolved. So it's time for a new sofa. Samantha Johnson said, I've been studying for almost 18 months and I'm just intermediate. It takes time. Yeah. And if you've been studying for 18 months and you know someone else who studied for 10 months to become intermediate, you can't compare yourself to them because that person may have been studying 3-4 times as much as you. That person may have been living in Korea. Like me, I literally was in Korea for a lot of my early Korean study. So it's not fair if someone compares himself with me. They might say, Billy said he took about a year before he could say most of what he wanted to say, before I was mostly conversational. I was living in Korea. So it's not really a fair comparison to someone who's just outside of Korea, only studying on their own, doesn't have a lot of Korean friends. So yeah, it depends on the person. It's case by case. Yeah, to shreds. I've been studying 5 years and I'm still intermediate too. Yeah, that's just how it happens. Now, if you're happy with it, great. If you can use it, that's great. That's the best part about learning Korean is being able to actually use it. If you feel like really frustrated, like, I just want to know more, like it really bothers me. Well, there are steps you can take to get better. If you decide like, I don't want to be intermediate anymore. I don't want to be beginner anymore. Yeah, there are steps you can do. But if you're happy where you're at, if you're using your Korean and having fun, you like learning it, there's no reason to really kick yourself and try to get better as long as you're enjoying where you're at. Yeah, so that's all I'll say. Yeah, it's the journey of learning. And I myself, I'm also still learning. Lately, I'm spending a lot of my time learning. Every day I learn Hanja idioms. So that's what I've been focusing on. That's my personal known weakness is Hanja idioms. I only know like basic ones. Like I know maybe 50, somewhere between 50 and 100 I know that I've heard before. And those are like really, really commonly used ones that I know. But there are so many more Hanja idioms that I'm not really aware of what they mean. Like I've seen them once, but I never learned what they meant. And so I got a book and I've been studying those. So it's going pretty well. I've already learned about another 24 in the past couple weeks. And yeah. So I'm also studying Korean too. It's a never ending journey. Believe me, you never learn Korean and are done with it. You are always learning Korean. So there is no way that you can just learn Korean. It's never ending. There's always more things you can learn. Someone said, can I see the background? Yes. That's the background. Where is it? I actually can't tell you because I don't remember what the picture was when I found it. I don't remember what the image title was, but it's some other place. I've never been there. Justina says, I've studied for 7 years and don't consider myself advanced. Overall, time doesn't matter as it's really hard to study steadily with the same intensity. Yes, it is. Like, if you are studying Korean, like you're actually studying Korean, you have some books and you're studying, you are doing much more than probably 99% of the people who've ever studied Korean. Most people who start studying Korean, and this isn't a dig at them, this is what they want. So it's okay. But just, most people don't learn more than the basics of the alphabet and maybe a few phrases. The majority of people. And those are people who say they've studied some Korean before. So if you're actually learning grammar, like you're learning this form, this is intermediate level form. If you're learning this type of stuff, you are already doing amazing. Really. Give yourself a pat on the back. You are a legitimate language learner. But yeah, expect that some stuff does take a long time. Even when you work hard at it, it can still take a long time. Even Koreans who live in Korea their whole life might not know how to use this form. Even though they can understand it, they might not correctly be able to use it, or they definitely wouldn't be able to explain what it means. So yeah, that's great. Emily Elt, is there a certain order you suggest we watch your live streams? The live streams are in no order whatsoever. So you would watch them as like appendices, what's the word? Extra information, extra resources. But I would not try to watch them in order because they're not designed to teach in order. They're designed simply to explain concepts. But yeah, they're not in order. Sylvia. Yeah, thanks for coming, Sylvia. Someone's a glass artist. When I get frustrated, I'm not progressing well. I look at my old notes and can see how far I've come. Yeah. Ditto. My, I don't know if there's any cool part I can show you. Yeah. I'm just looking at this is my first study book. So back in 2005, I actually had a book before this that was like just some really quick notes, but I probably threw that away. Yeah, I was learning gerunds, quote, thing, quote, place. My writing is atrocious, but really it's not too much worse than this. My writing really never has been very nice in Korean or English. 자전거, 중요하다, 비가 오다. I don't even have any spaces there. 비행기, 놓다. And then I have 하기, 하는 것, 함. But I didn't even know what they meant. I just wrote them down. Yeah, this is like random notes. the numbers, the days of the week. Yeah, am I right? Yeah. I can look at it now and I can kind of like laugh at myself, but you know, and even now, if I look at my stuff from a couple of years ago, if I listen to myself speaking, I can hear there's been a big improvement. And I did the video with Hyunwoo recently in Korea when I was there. This was also filmed in November, where we watched my old videos of me speaking Korean from as far back as like 2008, I think. And you can hear me get better clearly over each year. You can be, oh, I can totally hear you got better there. I can totally hear, I improved. And then there's like a 2-year gap where I started doing intense speaking again. And you can really hear a big difference between those 2 years, like how I sound in one. Although I'm speaking Korean in all of them, you can hear like, oh, wow, I can really use a lot more expressions in this one. And even now, I know a lot more than I did last year, because last year, a couple of years ago, I started doing like intense idiom studying. So I learned tons of idioms and expressions. And like I said, now I'm doing Hanja idioms. So it really lets me say a lot more things than I could before. Yeah. Imi says, does changing your phone language to Korean help? It doesn't hurt. It might make it a little hard for you to change your settings, but it should be okay. It's Pyodoin Temple in Hawaii. I don't think so. Hold on. No, it shouldn't be. It is. Hold on, let me find it. Oh wait, I have my button right here. It's Seowon Temple. But I've never been there before. Rushing War said, Billy, at what level do you think someone should be before they start using things like, well, any sort of chatting app to meet conversation partners? In the very beginning, because it's going to take a long time for you to get conversational if you're not trying to have conversations. And there are some people who will tell you, just all you need to do is listen to lots of Korean and you'll get better. It doesn't happen in reality. Doesn't work that way. As soon as you start speaking, the better. You're not going to be good at speaking, just like kids in Korea. Kids in Korea start off speaking horribly, making lots of mistakes. You're doing the same thing. Just start practicing. You'll make very short sentences, but practice using what you're learning as soon as you can. You can always improve your pronunciation later. You can always improve your intonation later. I did not sound the way that I sound in Korean when I was a beginner. I sounded horrible. But I learned intonation. I learned pronunciation, all the stuff along the way, and I got better. But yeah, you don't have to be perfect in the beginning. So start as soon as you can. You can have a friend and you can say, oh yeah, today I learned the alphabet. And you can write Canada or whatever. You can write whatever you learned in Korean and then, oh, today I learned this, and make a sentence with it. That's going to be very good if you can do that. Don't wait until you feel confident at using Korean before you start practicing using Korean. You'll just be wasting your time. You could start right away. And the people that you might see on YouTube or wherever who are able to learn Korean to a decent level in under a year, you'll ask, did you speak with Koreans? When did you start speaking with Koreans? They're all going to say right in the beginning or very early on. No one's ever going to say, oh, I didn't really talk to Koreans. No, you did. Everyone does. It's really a secret to learning a language is practicing it and having places that you can use it. So it's not just something you're learning from books, but it's also something that you get to use, that you get to enjoy. So you have Korean friends. That will help you learn a lot faster. Avion says, somewhere in the alternate universe there's a French Billy Go. I didn't get interested in French enough to decide I wanted to teach it. Japanese, yeah, there probably is an alternate universe where there's a Go Billy Japanese out there somewhere. if I continued doing Japanese instead of Korean. I would have continued to do it very seriously, and I was really serious at it. I had a lot of books. I had learned really a lot from it. Okay. I can take a couple more questions and then we'll go for today. It's a short lesson. Let me close this. Okay. Couple more questions. Rita asks, is writing a diary in Korean useful? Though my days are very similar usually, so even though I started doing this lately, it feels like repeating myself. Yeah, I can imagine that. You're just going to be saying, today I did this. Today I went to the store. Today I bought this. Today I read this. Like, yeah. Yes, writing is useful too. Whatever it is, though, I feel like you don't want to simply be regurgitating information out. You want to be using it. Like grabbing a Korean friend and saying, let me make a practice sentence with you could be good. But if all you're doing is just reading something that you wrote, that's not going to be so useful. The idea is that you're forcing your brain to actually use it. So when you're writing a journal, it's fine if you're writing the same stuff, as long as you're not just simply regurgitating it again. You're like, oh, I wrote this yesterday. Let me write it again. That's not going to help you at all. That's like writing the same thing on a chalkboard 100 times and then forgetting it as soon as you stop. What is good though, is you think, what did I do? You try to make the sentence in Korean. You could realize, oh, it's the same as yesterday, but it doesn't matter. You still try to make that sentence. That's fine. So you might do some of the same things every day, but you're not just trying to copy what you already wrote. So that's kind of an important thing. Like when you're making practice sentences, try to actually make them, not just put them together like they're mathematical formulas or copy paste something that you've already written or something you've already written down. You're just like remembering what you wrote. Don't try to do that. Try to actually make sentences. Hyunwoo did a good video on journaling. I'm sure he did. I haven't seen it. If that's, is that on Talk to Me in Korean or is that on his regular YouTube channel? Let's see. I learned Hangul in under 5 hours. Nice. Yeah, I think it probably took me a little longer than that. I think to learn just the letters, I probably was doing that for like 2-3 days just to kind of get the letters down. But like you can briefly do an overview of all of the alphabet in like 30 minutes, but you're not really going to learn them. You're going to keep forgetting what the letters mean. So yeah, a day or two, 3 days, something like that, under a week. Yeah, is pretty realistic for anyone to learn the alphabet. 5 hours sounds great. Okay, any other last questions? Samantha, I watch a lot of Korean drama. Yeah, watching that stuff is great for getting your brain adjusted to what the language sounds like. So you're not going to be able to mimic Korean sounds accurately unless your brain knows what they're supposed to sound like already and you've had practice doing it. And the only way to get that is by exposing yourself to a lot of Korean. So watching Korean shows is great, just for getting a feel of how Korean intonation is and, how they pronounce things. Sam Strongarm, member of 30 months. Nice. I don't have a question. Okay. But thanks for all your hard work. I've unfortunately taken a break for a couple months, but always appreciate this channel. Yeah. Nice. All right. I think that's enough for today. We did the whole lesson. We finished way too fast today. That was really the fastest live stream I've ever done. We've done a Q&A. I finished the Q&A and it's still less time than I normally would spend on the lesson. It really is that simple though. There really is nothing else you need to know. Like if you didn't get this lesson, you felt like, oh, I really don't get it. I have a different lesson, a live stream that goes all into how to use 의료고. So watch that, and that's it. If you watch this lesson, and again, I have several videos about it, you will understand today's lesson without even having to rewatch it. You'll get today's lesson. You'll be like, oh, I get it. It's just that. So I recommend watch this first. Because I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm not ready for this lesson. Like, no, you probably are. You just didn't know that form first. And we started late with all the dabbing. That's right, yeah. Yumi Chiru asks, how does anyone understand when Koreans talk fastly? Okay, quickly. It's actually not difficult. If you don't know the words, it doesn't matter if a Korean is speaking slow or quickly. You won't understand it. If you know the words, it doesn't matter how slow or how fast they talk, you'll understand it. That's how it works. So you might think, oh, I can understand Korean slowly, but I can't understand Korean quickly. What you mean is, I understand basic sentences my teacher tells me or I read in a book when they're read slowly. But I don't understand the natural language of Korean when it's spoken quickly. It's a different type of Korean you're comparing. You're comparing like book sentences to actual Korean sentences. It doesn't have anything to do with the speed. It's more the words that they're using. To an extent, you'll be able to understand Korean very quickly or slowly, as long as you know all the words and grammar in it anyway. But it's not that big of a deal. If you can understand a slow sentence that's natural Korean, you'll be able to understand if the same person speaks more quickly. It's like I said, it's not something that's going to take years to get down. I probably was understanding fast Korean sentences with stuff that I knew in them within a year, within the first year. So it came along with speaking Korean. It wasn't like a separate skill I had to build up. Oh, Jackie. I was just about to finish. Jackie, thank you. Jackie Hetched. I don't know how to say her last name. I'm just going to say Hetched. Thank you so much. Let me do 20 dabs for Jackie. Let's do kimchi and stars. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh. Thank you. Nice outfit. You're really changing. Yeah. All right. Let's see. And I'm in Twix said, I'm a beginner. I really enjoy these live streams. I get extra encouragement to continue my studies. Nice. It's good to hear. I'm glad at least if you can feel like kind of encouraged by watching these, then that's a success. Okay. So then again, really quick, if you are a Patreon member, make sure to get the outline for today as well as the worksheet. It's going to be on Patreon for all members, even the $1 tier. If you are a YouTube member, make sure to check out tonight. You'll get to watch today's video edited down really short. It'll be under 10 minutes, I'm sure. As well as you can watch the brand new series, Master Politeness Levels. The first 2 episodes are already available for members, and the third one I'm going to post again later this week. So you'll get at least 4 or 5 videos ahead of everyone else. For everyone else, it's going to premiere April 8th for the first episode, and then it'll be 1 a week. So members will always be 4 or 5 videos ahead. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for coming. And I'll see you again next time. 그럼 다음에 또 봐.